Hello, everyone. ¿Cómo están todos? This is Rocio, the founder of Bella. Bella stands for Brillantes Emprendedoras Latinas de Los Angeles. I'm really excited to have Diana here with us today from Mexichiccrafts, who's here to tell us about her story, her entrepreneurial journey. This is why we're here. This is why Bella exists. This is our purpose, to highlight and elevate the Latina entrepreneurs in our local communities. And so I'm really excited to have you. Welcome, Diana. Bienvenida.
Hi. Thank you, Rocio, for having me. I'm really excited and I feel really honored that you reached out to me and that you would even think of me in that way. And it actually does make me feel good because I have been working really hard on my business and along the way using the platform to empower other women.
Yes,
Working.
definitely.
Thank you.
And that's what it's all about. We have to uplift each other. We have to elevate each other and honor and embrace each other's journey. So I'm so glad to have you here. Well, we're going to dive right in because we want to get to know you. We want to get to know who you are, how you got started, all that good stuff. So how about you start off with telling us a little bit about who you are, who is Diana, and then let us know a little bit more about Mexichiccrafts, how you got started with that.
So my name is Diana Diaz, and I am a daughter of Mexican immigrants. Both of my parents came from a small rancho, and they came out here legally to work and to try to create a better life for us. And I was born here and raised in East LA. And I never left. Honestly, it's not because I didn't want to, because I was like dying to leave, but because you know how Mexicans are, they're so united and they keep the family close, and family is such a really strong value in our culture. So my mom never let me leave because I think she had like an idea that I was a little wild, or that I was adventurous, right? She was right. But so I stayed in my community, and I grew up in the same household and went to school here, elementary, high school, and college, Cal State LA. It's like the only university neighboring East LA, right? And I got my first job teaching in East LA, and the experience was very enriching because as I did my time, as I was finishing school, my students started growing up. I started running into them in the community, and they were surprised to see me. And I realized that I had to be a role model and an example. And it felt good to have that kind of impact in the community where kids were, they were happy to see me outside of the school, something that was rare for me because all my teachers were like white. They didn't look like me.
Mhm.
So that kind of, it impacted me because it made me want to stay. And I couldn't go too far. I ended up buying my house here also in City Terrace, El Sereno border. And, I'm friends with a lot of my former students. Now I'm a school counselor and I'm counseling their students. And they're like, Ms. Diaz, remember? And well, I was working at Roosevelt, a high school here in Boyle Heights. I used to dress a little traditional, or, I had decorations in my office that were, traditional Mexican memorabilia that families would bring me. And I observed the reaction of some of the students, like, Miss, ¿eres mexicana? I was like, yeah, I am, like, y no le da vergüenza. And this was a while ago, right? And I would wonder why someone would ask me that, why wouldn't I be proud? But even, for me growing up in school, my teacher changed my name to Diane. Your name is going to be Diane. And I thought it was cool, very Americanized. All my friends' names were Americanized. But when I got to college and I took my Chicano studies, I learned about my culture and what happened and about assimilation and all that. And that first day in that first class, I walked out and I thought, well, my name is Diana Diaz. And, I started owning my culture, my identity, my Chicanismo, my Mexicanismo. And I think that's the benefit of being Chicana, right? Like I can say, so Mexicana, and some days I feel really American, and some days I'm Chicana, and other days I'm Mexican American, and other days I'm Latina. And that's the beauty of being a Chicana. So that's where I came from. That's who I am. And that's actually why I started selling my tooled leather purses.
And that's really beautiful. I think you hit on something really key, because our identity of who we are, sometimes we want to put ourselves in like these boxes, right? Like I'm just this or I'm just that. And the reality is that there's this intersection of so many identities that we carry, right? We're we're daughters of immigrants, or some are immigrants, or we're Chicana, we're Latina, we're Mexican American, we're, you know, we're mothers, we're sisters, we're aunts. I mean, there's so much to us. There's so much richness to who we are that we need to like highlight that, talk about it. Like, I'm not just one person. You can't put me in a box. So I love that you shared that experience and in that just what how you hold that close to you. I think that's beautiful. And so you talked a little bit, you mentioned that you started your purses or your business. And so what was the actual, so like why purses? Like why did you start that specifically? Or how did you kind of start with the whole concept and then turn it into a reality?
I've been kind of reflecting on that because everyone's asked me, right? And
Mhm.
my parents were seamsters. They had like little mini clothing, illegal clothing, pillow bedding manufacturing business in our basement, and we used to all help. You know, all my siblings and I, we would help them sew and stuff pillows and go sell out in the streets. And we were very poor. You know, there were days that um, we had to go out there and sell till late to make the mortgage. And you know, I thought we were vegetarian. I didn't realize we were poor. You know, because we were in frijoles, y papas. You know, and so we learned to be resourceful and to work hard. And in the sewing, you know, I was always fashionable. I love fashion and color. And my dad told me, you know, te voy a enseñar cómo coser. You want to learn? You can make your own clothes. So he taught me how to sew, and I started making my own clothing. And I would pick these fabulous fabrics and colors in downtown. You know, he would take me to this Armenian guy, and you know, I used to love all the material, and he would tell me, pick whatever you want, and I will pay, you know, for my material, and I will combine it with like thrift clothing. Anyway, I learned how to construct the purses. So I started making cloth purses, and I started selling those. And I was struggling at home and rebelling against my parents. You know, my feminismo was coming out, and I was no longer tolerating the rules. And I moved out. And when I moved out, I bought a little home. You know, back then there were a lot of opportunities, right? I bought a little home here in East LA, and there were months that I was short por andar de vaga. You know, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get money. You know, like, and I thought, well, I know how to make money. You know, so I started making these purses, and I started selling them at the Melrose Swap Meet on Fairfax, which is a really cool little flea market. You know, a lot of artisans and crafters go there, and I was selling these purses, and I got an opportunity to sell at Wet Seal in their boutique store, Art and B, and they placed a big order, and I got very creative with my purses. That was a really good experience. I finished school, and the purses took a back seat, but I've always loved them. I collect purses, I copy purses, I remake them, you know, like even with clothes, I get an old skirt and I'll turn it into a scarf, you know, like, you know, I'm creative like that. So I'm getting close to retirement with education. So since I was working on myself, I thought, okay, let me start planning my retirement, and let me do something creative right now, because I was kind of struggling in my relationship, and I didn't want to engage in toxic behavior because I'm a vaga, you know, and I liked drinking, and I'm so social, and I didn't want to continue doing that because I know it would harm me and my family. So I started the little business, and I was importing purses from Mexico because I in my transition I was really embracing my culture and everything. I was learning about being, working in City Terrace and Boyle Heights with my community, with families with my similar experiences. I was owning it. You know, I was like dressing in my huipiles and my reposos, and the kids would love it. Ay, my miss, you know, and the teachers too, the administrators. And I loved it. I love that reaction that, you know, the representation of my culture got. So then I got a lot of competition with the product I was selling. So I decided to invest in leather. And I started working with this small little factory in Mexico, and told them my vision. They started working with me. I started traveling back and forth, and it took me about a year to develop the leather product. I bought some of their original pieces, and then I started designing. So I'm a designer now. And you know what?
Wow.
I didn't consider myself a designer, but it's more like project development. But I started creating my own, like my dream purses. Like, this is what I want, and this is what I want for my computer. And I was also listening to my customers. My customers asking for certain items, and I started putting different product to please ellas. All the bellas, and that's how it evolved.
That's so beautiful. You did talk a little bit about your childhood, and I'm always curious about, how Latina entrepreneurs, or, how all of us really kind of grow up and what that's like. And you shared about how, you were helping you make things and you learn how to sew. And were your parents themselves on like business owners, or is that kind of like a spirit you have as part of your family, or is it something that you think you really kind of just came to own on your, like, for you?
I don't think I had a choice, Rocio, because my parents, they only went to second and third grade. They were not educated in the rancho, and they came out here and um, wanted to work for themselves. My dad was like, I'm not going to work for the man. So he dug out a basement in our home, and that's where he created his small factory. And he would employ the neighbors and the comadres, and he was able to buy a couple of homes. We live very humbly. It's still in City Terrace. We don't have a lot of luxuries. It was an opportunity
Yeah.
that he got, so he bought the homes, and they had to teach us because they couldn't afford to pay a lot of employees, and we didn't have a choice, and it was embarrassing. I hate going out vending. I hated selling, but they paid us, and
Mhm.
it wasn't free. My dad would pay us 10 cents for each pillow that we would sell. And I wanted money, I wanted to buy material, I wanted to buy clothes. So I would hustle. And he would tell me, diles esto, y diles esto. And he taught me a lot of dichos.
Yeah.
And like, if you go to Mexico and you go to the mercados, you hear all the ladies like, ándale marchantita, and he would tell me all these dichos. And I was the best salesperson,
Wow.
from our family. And I was kind of volada, like I still am. So I would like flirt, with the ladies, with the men, and I would sell the pillows. I would even get extra tips.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they would let us go inside the market and buy whatever we wanted, because I lived in a home where my parents couldn't afford soft drinks or
Mhm.
orange juice. We
Mhm.
had an orange tree, and my mom would pour sugar and water and make,
Mhm.
naranjadas.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I think that the entrepreneurship, that skill, I learned it from my parents,
Mhm.
and I learned to embrace it because of my parents, and I used that skill and ability to survive.
Mhm.
And now that I'm older and that I'm more established in my career, I'm using the entrepreneurship, this ability, this skill, as a creative outlet.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I don't have a big business. I'm running it by myself with my nieces and nephews. Los pongo todos a trabajar. I'm ándale, I need help. And my mom, everyone, I'm taking pictures of them helping me and working with me, because I realize now, as a school counselor, as a mother, as a member of the community, I remember all these people that impacted me favorably. And
Mhm.
I want to be able to do the same for those that I love, including my community, because I love it so much.
Mhm.
I was raised by and impacted by my parents, by my family, and by my community. I love City Terrace. I
Mhm.
love being here. I love that I can walk up and down my street and feel so safe and know anybody at any time. And if I run out of change or money, the lady at the market, no te preocupes, a la otra que vengas. And I want to be able to create that kind of environment or memory or tradition with with those I love.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing it with intention. Come and help me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it saves me some time, and I can spend time with my boy too, with my family.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you hit on a lot of really good points. And one of those is, I think part of it's your nature, como eres de sociable, de amable, that's partly, I think, who you are in your nature. And then part of that was influenced by how you grew up. Like you said, these kind of, this mindset, the las ganas, the work ethic, all kind of like help feed into the person that you are, right? And sometimes we don't always think about it as we're kids, we're growing up and like, no tengo que hacer esto, limpia el baño, haz esto, ven a ayudarme. And we're like, oh man, but as we grow up, I feel like those skills, that resiliency is already inside of us, right? And I see that shine through with you so much in just what you're sharing. It's definitely this energy that you give off about your power, your resiliency, your love for community. It shines through. So I know you're inspiring all those that are listening right now. You're definitely inspiring me, Diana. So thank you for sharing that. So having said that, using the word inspiration, so what kind of keeps you going? Because it's not easy. And so what keeps you going? Can you speak a little bit to your purpose and your mission, which you have, I mean, throughout the interview, not a separate question, but more just kind of share with us a little about what keeps you going, what kind of gets you through the struggles or any challenges that come up.
That questions like that, like make me emotional, but Rocio, it is so much work to be a mom, to run a business, to be a woman, a Chicana. And there are days where like there was a point where I wanted to sell my business because I had already grown a little bit and it was people liked it. Somebody offered, to buy it and I considered it. But then the pandemic hit. And I put a hold on my website and I stopped ordering stuff. And then I got a call from my manufacturer and he told me, hey, I had to let go of the whole company.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's temporary, we don't know how long it's going to. This was after 2 months. And he told me that there were families and they didn't have it like we have it here in the US where all the people were getting unemployment. And you know what? I love my employer. We've developed my manufacturer. We developed a really beautiful, trusting, loving relationship because that's how I am. Whatever, like I get into, like I felt a sense of responsibility, and I was like, damn, like okay. And we worked out a deal. He offered me some credit, and I deserved it too because like I pay him. I always pay, and sure enough. Women started messaging me. Do you have this? Do you have that? It's someone's birthday. And no one was going to the malls. No one could see something, right? And I guess these women that I already knew, they were return customers, they started buying from me. And then the trickle down effect is that their friends start following me or their Dia that they gifted to. So my sales picked up. And, my manufacturer was like, okay, I'm going to hire back 6 more, thank you. And I was like, well, thank you for the opportunity. It was definitely a relationship that I committed to, a sense of responsibility, love, inspired me to keep going. And with that, because it was just me and it was quarantine, I couldn't have my nieces and nephews over. I was like, tired. I was like, what do I do? I started working on me. I started reading and going on YouTube and getting tips on female entrepreneurship and how to run a business and how to get energy because, I'm no spring chicken anymore. So I started taking care of me and, all these women that I was listening to, the literature I was reading, there were women that were saying, share. All of us have to do this. We have to do this collectively. We all have the ability to empower, to help each other. And we grow exponentially by sharing, by inspiring. So I think that has definitely, on those moments where I doubt, those moments where I'm exhausted, those moments where I say, I need a break, I tell myself, I can't stop. I can't. I have a responsibility for my son, for my family, for now the manufacturer that I'm working. And for those who reach out to me and tell me that they're inspired, like that inspires me. When someone tells me, girl, you inspire me, I'm like, really, me? Yeah. Okay, then, I cut back on drinking. I'm like trying to eliminate sugar. I still like to have my wine, my champagne, sorry, but I think I was, because we all go through depression or anxiety or whatever, handling stuff. Those are the things that I turn to. I turn to hanging out with all my friends, which is nothing bad, but like I was hanging out and drinking and not really exercising and engage, allowing these toxic people or men to treat me a certain way. And definitely working on myself, and cutting back on alcohol helped me see things a little clearer. I had some clarity and able to proceed, not just for my benefit, but for
Mhm.
those that I love.
That's so true, so true. And life is not like a flat road, right? We go through ups and downs and turns and dips, and so that's definitely part of the whole journey we experience. And when we have people that we can surround ourselves with, our comunidad, like you say, our family that can lift us up and we can lift them up, I think that it makes it, we can get through it. So you touched, on some of the challenges that you face and how you have overcome. So what is your message to some Latina entrepreneurs, some that are kind of rising and they're just getting started? What advice or what tips or what kind of words of wisdom can you share with those women who are kind of starting out right now?
Well, because can I backtrack a little?
Yes, of course.
Okay, as a mother, when I had my child, my son was born deaf, right? Profoundly deaf. And they tell you this on the first day at the hospital, and then they hand you your baby and you leave. And I was like lost. I was like, what? And they told me you're gonna have to learn sign language. And there in my family, we were raised with a lot of shame.
Mm.
No le digas a nadie, y qué va a decir la gente. And when there was someone who had a child that was ill or disabled, the family would say, pobrecito.
Mm.
Oh, poor thing. And I had all those memories when having my child, and I did feel shame. I didn't want to tell anybody. But as an educator, I know where I have to go to find help. So I reached out to a group, and that's the advice that I have for women, not just as mothers, as sisters, females and emprendedoras. But I reached out to a group that had a testimony to share, because I needed to hear from other mothers. I needed to know who was doing it, how it worked, and what to expect. And I participated in this group for 5 years. Oh my God. My son, he speaks, he sings, he plays
Wow.
piano. He qualified for the cochlear implants, and this was a process that was supported by this organization. Anyway, I love this organization, John Tracy Clinic. It's a for-profit organization that helps children, nonverbal children, choose hearing and verbal as a form of speaking. Anyway, with that experience, completely changed me. And I realized, because I asked my teacher, how do, is this applied to all deaf children? And she said, the curriculum that you're learning is applied to all children. Everything that you are expected to do is for all children. I was like, what? I couldn't believe it, because in child development, they don't teach you parenting. They teach you, the stages of development, but not really parenting. I was learning about parenting a deaf child. I take it back to my work and I start applying it at my work. Everything that I learned, my approach as a counselor changed. And I realized that it starts at home and in your community. And those are the people that you have to reach out to and impact and empower and educate. And I did it with my son. I came back and I educated my family. This is what's going on. This is the support that I need. This is how we're gonna help Luke. And they helped me. I went back to the school and I talked to the families I was working with, and I said, it starts at home. You're the teacher. You have to make it happen. You're the expert. You go back to the classroom. You tell the teacher what, you respectfully, please, but you tell your teacher what your child needs, because you're the expert in your child. And in my business, when I started my business, I did the same thing. I went back to my family and my friends and my network and my coworkers saying, this is what I'm doing. Help me, come out and support me. And that's the advice that I have for all entrepreneur women, all Chicanas, especially us that were so close to our families. Reach out to your family. And if you have a loving and supportive and kind of crazy family like I do, they're gonna come out and they're gonna support you, and especially if it's something good for you and for the community and for their children. And I have definitely gotten a lot of support. It starts at home, and it first starts with us. we have to mentally prepare ourselves. Physically, we have to try to get better care of ourselves, eliminate toxicity, eliminate shame, talk about those things that we normally didn't talk about, in order to build trust and confidence with us, within our home, within our families, within our community. And I think, you see, I like to post, I'm selling testicle balls, and penis earrings in our hot seller. And you know what? At first, my mom was like, "Ay, no lo puedo creer. ¿Qué estás haciendo? ¿Qué va a decir la gente?" And I use the opportunity to talk about it. And I tell her, "Mom, you never talked about these things with me. Mom, when I had my period, you handed me a Kotex and you told me, ya eres mujer." And that's all she told me. Isn't that terrible?
Yeah.
And I'm like, like, what was I before?
Right.
So I use these opportunities to try to eliminate shame, not just within my family, but without my community. We should all be able to talk about this and eliminate the fears, and let our girls know, hey, don't be afraid of no dick or testicles, and I don't mean it in a vulgar way, but that's what it is. It's their testicles, and it's a penis, and the vagina is powerful, and care for it, and take care of it, and empower it, and use it to your benefit, like in a healthy way,
Healthy way. Yeah.
And I've been able, and it's worked for me, and it's worked for many others, and I've gotten a lot of great feedback, a lot of criticism, but even with the criticism, I've been able to talk about it and address it. And if there's something that I'm missing or that I don't know, then I'm open to learning about it. Educate me, like I'm open to it. I'm growing, and I'm eager. I'm still eager to learn more and to evolve. So I'm having a lot of fun with that.
It's really great. I mean, that's a big thing, I think, with the shame and the de eso no se habla. I know that growing up was same thing too. Is, the white elephant in the room, or esas cosas no se dicen, no sé, pero ¿por qué? No, nomás porque yo dije, ¿por qué no? And so now, what are we teaching our kids to, being curious, asking questions? That's a good thing. This is how we grow, and so it's definitely a shift though for some, right? It's a shift, but I think you hit on something really important, is that shame that sometimes we carry with different things. And so kind of taking the time to unravel that and look at those that can support us in that process is really important. So that's some really great advice and words of wisdom to share with those that are listening. So as we kind of close our interview time here, I've been having a lot of fun. I'm so inspired. I've been getting goosebumps this whole time every time I hear you talking.
Thank you.
So what are just some maybe final thoughts that you want to share? Maybe something we didn't get to talk about, or anything that you just want to end the interview with and sharing with those that are listening?
So final thoughts are, if you are inspired and you want to kind of try and do the same thing, I invite you to come out to the Goddess Mercado. It's all Latina, Chicana entrepreneurs have created their own brands, manufactured their own items, and they're selling them in the community. We've all committed to buying from each other. Like, I only wear Diosa lipstick. She's a homegirl from my neighborhood, and I'm like, I'm only gonna buy from her. And I threw away all my other lip colors, and I told her, hey, I'm waiting for your foundation line. It's a vegan line. And she's like, oh my God. But me telling her that is because someone told me, hey, I'm waiting for a fanny pack. And I was like, what? And it actually happens, and it inspires. So if you want to be a part of this growing group of empowered women, of unselfish women, hardworking Chicanas, Latinas that love the community, come and visit us. We just partnered up with LAUSD. So we will be at Hildo Solis parking lot complex the second Saturday of every month, starting this July 10th. And we're supporting some street vendors that will be there. And we have 30 Chicana brands, all unique products. I have my purses there. Come and meet me, come and sign up. And I think you should go ahead and talk to your family and take the dive. Get out there, and you will see that the women that you meet, the women that are supporting you, their stories are inspiring, their stories are empowering, and you're going to continue to get more support. You're going to grow. You can decide to go to the mall, and there's nothing wrong with going to the mall, but go to the mall and you want to support Michael Kors or whatever fancy brand, that's fine too. But if you come, you are supporting these women that are working towards helping and inspiring the community and empower themselves.
Mm.
So come on down to Hilda Solis parking lot.
I love that, Diana. Thank you so much. I definitely want to head over. I'm close by, so I'm going to step over there. I'm going to be able to meet you in person
Yes.
and support the women as well. Thank you so much for taking that time to sit down with us, take a little bit of your afternoon and
My
share your
pleasure.
story.
My pleasure.
I know you've inspired so many. You've inspired me, like I mentioned, and we will have Diana's information on our website. We're gonna, as you're probably seeing this right now, it's living on our website, and we're gonna have links to how to get in touch and how to support Diana and her business. So please, everybody, remember to shop local, support Latina-owned businesses, and we'll see you soon. Adelante.
Gracias. Besos. I love you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.